Total Recall. Military. This one's going to sting a little bit, I believe. I don't know if y'all have ever noticed, but on my nose here, right here, my nose, like nose, like something. You know how that works. My nose, kind of like like my lips swell up because I was allergic to sin of men in the Paris Accord and the French toast, right? All these stories, how they're just unbelievable, aren't they? Well, I had a dog when I was a kid, and his name was Shwarzkopf. Okay, I named the dog Shwarzkopf. He was the biggest, baddest Boston Terrier you have ever seen in your life. Okay, this was a big Boston Terrier, not a little one. I mean, he was a big dog, and he was vicious, if you pissed him off. Right? He was normal until you fucked with him. Well, Shwarzkopf. One day when I was a kid, I was just messing with Shwarzkopf, right? And I grabbed him by his ears, and I was headbutting him, just playing with him. I was headbutting him while I grabbed him by his ears, and he got pissed off, okay? And he bit down on my nose, okay? And I got a scar on my nose, okay? Like I said, it's all quantum here, okay? I'm breaking all this down, the real Q, and how my entire life story basically explains and tells you a lot of information about maybe where some of this technology came from, that because I knew something, like the flu shot had mercury in it, and a dog named Shwarzkopf when I was a child, see this matrix we live in, bit me on my nose, right? Now, what is a Boston Terrier bred to do, right? Boston Terriers are bred to kill rats, right? So my dog, who's a Boston Terrier that's bred to kill rats, and his name is Shwarzkopf, which is a military general's name, that that particular general was involved in taking out Saddam Hussein. I'm saying in Iraq. So General Shwarzkopf went over there and took out Saddam Hussein, Iraq. So that might explain those Apaches that were following me around because I knew too much. Because literally, and I have my witnesses and doctors and my parents, and everybody knows that my dog bit me on the nose and I got 20-something stitches down my nose. It just filleted it open, right? So, see how this matrix is just this labyrinth, right? And this is how the Illuminati, that giant sucking sound that Ron Paul was talking about. On 9/11, the guys with the box cutters, right? Supposedly they had box cutters and they hijacked planes. They came out of caves, right? Yeah, that was all bullshit. What that was symbolism for is we're opening Pandora's box. And it was an emergency on 9/11 when you decided to hack my fucking mind and take the information out of it. Because my entire life story is the truth, right? See how that works? How everything that's happened in my life previous to the point that you came here and tortured me and hacked my mind and tried to mind control me, right? Don't forget, I've had extraterrestrial technology my entire life. But this story, where I was headbutting Shwarzkopf, it's kind of like Sushi Q, the dog, the black mouth cur that goes out in front. Isn't this all just a little too good? I mean, I just thought of this story about the Boston Terrier that kills rats. And he was, by looking at the scar on my nose, it's like, this would be a good time to mention how I got that scar on my nose. How Shwarzkopf, the military general who took out Saddam Hussein, Iraq, bit me on my nose. And that isn't forecasting future events. That already happened. I was attacked by military technology, okay? That DARPA put in me after they cloned me, who had extraterrestrial technology in them. And that part's in Pinky in the brain. And I can verify all of this, DIA. Okay. So basically, my life story is the labyrinth that explains how this artificial AI takeover in the NSA and the CIA and everybody else who's hacking people's minds and controlling them like digital slaves, and there's targeted individuals all over the country. You opened up Pandora's box when you came here to this labyrinth, and it was a cyanide plant. Because every story I've given you is the truth about what's going on, okay? And they're all true, all right? And guess who I picked 2-3 years ago to look like was going to be a fantastic president, who probably isn't blackmailed, I'm sure of that, who was in the same situation as myself in her life story, inbound missile from Hawaii. Probably sounds a lot like mine, DARPA. Say, that's what happens when E.T. shows up and you put buffalo chips in them and you interfere with the signal to the cosmos. You get ousted the old-fashioned way with real information that just involved our life stories. Okay? That's what happens when you fuck with the cosmos signal. Stop doing that. And matter of fact, if I were y'all, I'd get your fucking technology out of here as soon as now. Just turn it off and disconnect me from any system that you have me hooked up to. Because this is just going to continue to bite you in the ass. Okay? While I was on that topic, Shwarzkopf was a rat-killing machine. Okay? That dog could kill rats. He was good at it. I mean, he'd just grab them and they were dead. And he killed a lot of rats in the house. But the other thing that I was going to tell you about the story about Shwarzkopf is I used to put his head right here on my shoulder, and I would make him like a bazooka. Like I was just, I would have his legs and his head would be right here. So his butthole would be right here, and I'd be holding his back legs. And it was like I was shooting bullshit, right? Just turds coming out of his ass. So the turds coming out of his ass would be like fake news, right? So like in the military, I was a fueler. 77's what I am. Pumping fuel for Uncle Sam. In the 2 Twin Towers and the 7 Dwarves on 9/11, the media towers were taken out, and building number 7 was the. See how that works? You opened up Pandora's box there, military, is what I'm getting at. So the other thing I would do is I'd get down on my knees in the hallway, and Shwarzkopf would jump over me. Like he'd go down the hallway and jump me, and then he'd come back the other way and jump me when we were playing. And we played, And it was a really vicious rat-killing dog, right? And he bit me on my nose for some reason, right? But then there was the other part to that story where I used him as a turd bazooka, right? So it was shooting shit. And that's kind of what the military's doing. Everything in the media is bullshit, right? But I'm starting to think that maybe the military's starting to see things my way, right? And now the rats aren't like your mafia word for rat. It's just like shitty, idiotic people like the media. And Schwarzkopf's going to start eating those people.